Hey, video cards. That new Radeon RX 9070 and 9070 XT came out. They launched at a very reasonable price. And you think, oh, that's good news. And of course, the news story is cut off in the graphic. Fantastic. But hey, that's good news, right? No, not really. So, basically, what we're finding out now through Hardware Unboxed and a couple other news outlets is this $600 MSRP is not notable only for the first shipment. They're giving all retailers a $50 rebate. So whatever the final price of these cards are, it is at minimum $50 more expensive. And most of the $600 models sold out incredibly quickly. And it's mostly the 700 and up that are sticking around still. So, yeah. Stock was relatively good. Like it still sold out in seconds because that's just graphics cards in the current year of our Lord, and the performance is great. But yeah, this thing's kind of biggest benefit of being a $600 graphics card that performs well in the current year is gone. It is dead and gone. It's not a thing anymore. Uh, you know, uh, this is such a win for AMD too. Like $150, that is a significant enough price difference to where you look at a 5070 Ti, assuming you can get one for MSRP, assuming any of this fantasy, like the word MSRP right now, especially at launch, it might as well be a unicorn. It might as well be fictional. But the prices are will adjust relative to where they are, what they should be at MSRP, right? And a 9070 being $150 cheaper, but only a couple percent slower than the 5070 Ti, that was a deal. But now if it's like $100 cheaper or 50, like if it's $50 cheaper, it's like why bother? Why get worse upscaling? Why get worse AI and rendering performance? Why get worse feature set? When the difference is $50, $150. Okay, well, they're close enough at that point. For most people, I feel. This is really scummy and shitty too. They had a lot more availability than Nvidia had, which was good. You're seeing more people, more 9070s out in the wild. It's not like Nvidia where you could definitely call that a paper launch versus this is more of it's not low supply, but it's a launch, so it's going to sell out no matter what. So, and if if they had this production rate before this, I'm hoping that these will be out in the wild sooner rather than later. Yeah, it's just real shit, man. And I get why they wanted to do it this way. Like, one, it's the anchoring effect of most people will think, oh, this card's $600, and when they go to buy it and it's 700, 730, they're gonna be like, oh, whatever, I'll still get one. Because it's anchored in their mind is what they're getting. And then the other thing is like they needed to win. AMD, even when they make a good product, they've been kind of getting their shit kicked in when it comes to graphics cards for 15 years, 16 years, and this was a good time to get a win, and they got a win. And to be fair, one of the big advantages NVIDIA had was good drivers, but the 5070 drivers are shit and have been bad. So, I mean, that's not a win for them anymore, as more as their opponent shot themselves in the foot. But hey, take what you can get. This God, the GPU market is such a mess, man. Like just the pricing and the scalping and the just crypto AI bros going into the market and just buying anything because they'll make their money back on it no matter what, so it doesn't really matter. And in Nvidia's case, a lot of the allotments going to them because there'll be AI server farms that'll order 10,000 AI rigs. Like that is something to consider as well, right? Like they'll order 10,000 AI rigs, with 10,000 AI graphics cards, like so just the volume, like why would Nvidia ever care about the graphics card unit as much now, right? Like the video game graphics market when AI and crypto are so huge. Oh, Lordy. Um, I don't know. That's and we do have more video card news though. As long as we're having this discussion, might as well get into that. Hey, guess what? Uh, Nvidia, their laptops are being delayed. So as we talked about how the 5070 Ti and the 5080 and the 5090 are all missing ROPs, the laptops have also been found to be missing ROPs and been affected. Several notebook manufacturers have been working overtime to prevent, this from happening, but they're already inspecting notebooks produced with the new 5000 series chips, and where fewer ops are active than specified in the data sheet, because that can lead to big losses in performance. God, man, I can't remember the last time a GPU launch was this much of a shit show either. That's another factor here. Is like I honestly cannot tell you the last time that we had something like that like this happened. I was thinking back to the 400 series with the Fermi cards that Nvidia made that were massively over, drew too much heat and ran too hot, but at least those were good cards. They were priced right. They ran well. This is just, god damn it, man. Like, just, ah. I'm saying laptops too. I don't know what the hell is happening here. Is like, okay, was this a rush order? Is there something in the design where it can miss ROPs when it's being made? Like, what is happening? So, there's that. And then the last video card story we have before I kind of get my thoughts on this whole market together is, hey, the 5090 is being recalled, or at least specific models of it are being recalled due to, an internal investigation because that motherfucker is a fire hazard. There's no recall probe, but then, they put out a full statement at the Dutch retailer saying that's not happening. And yeah, there's, and then there have already been a few 5090s sold only to burn out due to the large amount of power going through the 12-volt 6 power connector. This happened the first 4090 2 years ago. A lot of people pinning it on user error, though that does not seem to be the case this time. My thoughts on this are, well, the graphics card industry used to be cool. Like a new series of graphics cards would come out and it would be exciting and energize you, and there'd be a lot of cool shit going on. Versus now, I look at it and I think to myself, Jesus Christ, why would I ever want to get involved with this? And PC gaming as a whole. I think that part of that is just because, like, it's hard to get cards at launch, or even within the first year a lot of the time. Prices are insane during that first year, and prices have gone up in a way to where buying even a mid-range graphics card is $600 to $800, which is crazy to think about. Like if you want a 5070, you're paying $600, realistically with board partner cards. And then above that is 700, 800, 1,000. The 5080 is $1,000, realistically $1,200. That's nuts. What in the world is happening? And then AMD, even when they can compete, they shoot themselves in the foot with MSRP issues and their stock problems, and just, the graphics jumps aren't as huge as they used to be. And it's just, Eh, that's I used to be so excited about the high end and even the upper mid range graphics card industry. It like and that side of the PC space, like how great graphics can get and whatnot. Um, and I was really excited about ray tracing once I started to see it in action and the benefit it could have for games. But now it's just the cost is too high. They can't produce enough new units. They're starting to have these issues. It's like, dude, this is just not the industry that I fell in love with for this kind of thing, and it sucks. It really sucks. I'm playing a build in December, as I've mentioned on the show before, and I think that's going to be my last build for a very long time. I'm committed to getting everything right in the first time, so I really only would have to add storage to it over time. Maybe go to 128 gigs of RAM. And then I'm kind of done until that thing just falls apart or there's a major error with it because I don't get excited anymore. Whenever I'm like pulling up video card news, I'm like, all right, what is it gonna be today? Yeah, like those three news stories were this week. Like I was so keyed up on the 9070 XT launch. Finally, a budget-friendly mid-range card. Everyone's feeling good about it. It's performing well. Turns out the MSRP is faker than normal. There's still stock issues, though that might be remedied quicker than normal, depending on how things go. And we don't know how it's going to perform in the long term. It may be an unstable mess like the 50 series has been, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, uh, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I miss being able to see news. Like I remember seeing the 10 series, or even the 30 series, and seeing the performance gains you were getting, and it felt like it was a good price. And they didn't have all these issues with missing ROPs and setting fire to your house and whatnot. Like, and yeah, back then AMD didn't really compete as much except on the lower end side of things, but just everything was felt kind of good versus right now everything feels really, really bad. I guess that's kind of like growing up. um, jokes aside, I don't know. I honestly think I've talked about this with Anthony. The most interesting part of the PC space right now is handhelds. The deck, the Ally, the Legion Go, where it's like they're not focused on this super high end tech. They're focused on portability, and you're actually seeing performance jumps there and like improvements and quality of life improvements that are really big, just because it's new and there is room to grow. Hey, we put a bigger battery in it, so the ROG Ally X has Steam Deck style battery with way better performance. Hey, we put this really cool screen in it. Hey, we did this thing, and you're still able to see big power jumps. Like I think whenever we see a deck two in the next couple of years, like you're gonna see a real big, meaningful power jump, not like a piddly 10 to 15%. I mean, Switch 2. Granted, the Switch 2, has the benefit of being, coming out basically almost 8.5 years after the original. But I think that actually is, and this kind of goes back to the console space too, where it's like, even the console space graphics are not as exciting as they used to be. I bought a PS5 Pro, and my advice to most people is spend that money on an OLED TV with VRR instead before even thinking about it, because you will get far more benefit out of that. And depending on what your graphics card is, I would almost say the same thing. Get a VRR 4K monitor. Uh, you know, that OLED 4K monitor before you look into a 5080 or 5090 or 9070 XT, just because I think you'll get more of a fidelity benefit out of it and a long-term benefit out of it and be happier with the purchase. Depending on what you're running on. Like I'm running on a 3080, it's not a bad card. It's just VRAM constrained. Versus If you're running on like a 2060, yeah, dog, okay, fine. You make the move. You okay? That isn't for you. But yeah, like I don't think that space is exciting anymore. CPUs are not really that exciting either. It's just, there's still big improvements to be had, and that's nice. But I think generally it's not. It is also what I would qualify as fine. Yeah. So graphics cards. All right. Well, anyway, let's get to the next news story.